There are a lot of gardeners around Oklahoma who like to include vines in their landscape, and one of the most common is Clematis, or Clematis, like a lot of us like to say. Well, we wanted to bring you a show on these vines, so we visited the home of Wanda Faller here in Edmond. Well, Wanda, welcome to our program.
Thank you, Steve.
Well, Wanda, how long have you been growing Clematis?
I've grown a few for like 20 years, but the last 5 years I've really added a lot to the garden.
Okay, and you've had quite a bit of success with your Clematis in those 5 years.
Well, they're really fairly easy to grow. Certain ones are more vigorous than others.
Okay, well, when it comes to growing these vines, I know that a lot of people think, well, we can't really grow them as well as gardeners in the northern part of the United States. I know in Chicago, Cleveland, areas like that, their spring large flowered clematis look beautiful, and sometimes gardeners here in Oklahoma have a little bit of a problem growing them. But if we position them in the right location and take a few other things into consideration, we can have successful clematis here.
Yes, they're really quite easy to grow.
Okay. All right. When I was in school, my professor always said clematis like their foot in the shade and their head in the sun. Have you found that to be helpful?
Yes.
Okay.
Either with a mulch or by planting them on the north, like the north side of a tree, and letting them bloom on. But mulch is sufficient, or the shade of other plants in front of them.
Okay. Keep that root zone shaded by other plants, good mulch, or on the north or even the east side of a tree, yes, or a shrub or something like that. And works very well.
I don't think they do quite as well with full all-day sun.
Okay. And you also amend the soil a little bit?
If you can, it's good to amend the soil. If you're planting on a tree or something, you may not be able to.
Sure. It'd be harder to work that organic matter in that the root zone of the tree. Probably wouldn't be that great for the tree, but adding the mulch will slowly increase that organic matter.
Yes, it
over
will.
Time.
And when you plant them, some of the directions don't tell you that, and some of them have started saying it, but try to get it below the soil level, like where it comes in the pot. Plant that 2 to 3 inches below the soil level, unless sometimes you get one that you can't do that. You know, it's not big enough to do that too. But
so plant them deep, a couple inches.
Yes.
Okay, that's very important. That's a neat tip. Plant them deeper than you would your other plants. Well, clematis have an interesting way that they climb. They are vines that aren't overly vigorous. I guess there are some that are more so than others. But I think it's interesting just looking at the leaves of the plants, or the petioles of the leaves that come off the vine here and wrap around things, sort of act as a little tendril with those leaves. And sometimes you have to help the vines along a little bit in the windy weather that we have.
You do. When the wind always blows when they're coming up or coming out.
Just coming out in the spring.
Right. And they always want to blow. The wind comes from the south, and so they all want to go north. Sure, yeah. But you just kind of help them along like that. See, that'll start, because it doesn't want to go down, but you can make it.
Okay. So you just kind of direct those leaves to something to hang on to. Okay, but they do need something small to be able to wrap around.
They do.
When we look at the
chicken wire,
the tree back here, the chicken wire.
The chicken wire is great. It doesn't, you don't see it from a distance, and it's really good for them to hang on to. Okay, so if we put this on a young tree, it'd be really good to keep it pretty loose so it doesn't start constricting the tree. Yes, you'll notice mine is loose so that the tree can grow. Good idea. Okay, that wouldn't be able to climb that tree very well without the chicken wire. No, it wouldn't at all. Okay, so we've got clematis here on a support, a small support. We've also got it
growing up a frame of chicken wire around this pine tree. But right over here you've got another example of a way to grow Clematis, and that is up through a shrub. And what have we got here, Wanda?
This one is Dr. Rupel. It's growing on a viburnum, and the viburnum has just finished blooming, but when the viburnum was in bloom, it was just really breathtaking.
Oh, I bet that was gorgeous, the white and the pinkish lavender together there. So growing the Clematis up into a shrub is another option.
Yes.
And like you were saying, having that root zone shaded by another plant, this is a prime example of that. Okay, and looks great. Well, Wanda, I'd like to take a look at some other ways that you maintain your Clematis. So
Okay.
let's have a look. Well, Wanda, over here in this part of your landscape, you have a beautiful, large, flowering white Clematis. Which variety is that?
It's Henryi.
Henryi. Boy, those are easily 7 or 8 inches broad there. Huge flowers. And I like the way you've got it planted there with the Yopon holly that it's climbing upon. Its roots are shaded by that plant, but you've also got a little bit of shading taking place with this hedge of roses that you have planted here in front. Which rose are we looking at here?
That's Katy Road Pink.
Katy Road Pink, also known as
Carefree Beauty.
Carefree
Yes.
Beauty. Earlier on our program, or earlier in the season, we showed pruning of this very rose on our show. But I like the combination there with the pink and the white. I think you've done just an outstanding job there of creating this combination.
Thank you.
Well, right back here, you've also got a beautiful Clematis with multi-petaled blooms. Which one is that?
That's Belle of Woking.
Belle of Woking, very beautiful. That lavender color, that double or multi-petaled variety there. Wanda, these Clematis that are growing up into the shrubs, do you prune those back at all?
No, Steve, I don't prune those back because you want the blooms to get up higher.
Okay, they would be shaded more, the plants, as they're coming out in the spring.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
Wouldn't get quite the sunlight down below.
No.
Down below that shrub. Okay. Over here we've got another Clematis that looks very vigorous. And is this one pruned at all, Wanda?
Yes, this one, believe it or not, was pruned down to about 10 or 12 inches
This
spring. This spring, every year. There are certain ones that you should prune back, or your blooms will all be up high.
Okay, too high to enjoy.
Too high, you'd get the legs and then the blooms up on the top.
Okay, well that certainly shows us that they're going to bloom on this new growth here, because it's just loaded with flower buds, and it's grown quite a bit from being cut back 10 to 12 inches. It's already up to 8 or 9 feet there. And if you didn't cut that back, all your blooms would be up at the very top of the tree.
Right, and see, the blooms start here and go all the way, and it's a small flowered purple.
Okay.
It's called Etoile Violette. It's a Viticelli, and when it blooms in the summer, I've had people stop by off the road to find out what that purple tree was.
Oh wow, it just looks like a
yes,
big purple tree.
it's really pretty, and then you get some blooms on through the summer.
Okay, beautiful. I bet that is outstanding. Well, right up here I noticed you have a few other really nice Clematis, and I absolutely love these Katy Road Pink.
I do
pink
too.
Roses. This is a blue that we looked at a little bit earlier that was growing up the pine tree. Which one is this one?
That's H.F. Young.
Oh, that is outstanding. It just really brightens up this area. And I like the trellis you've got them growing on here. Great way to display your Clematis. And right back here we've got one that's just now getting going. A dark maroon colored bloom. Which one is this, Wanda?
That's Rouge Cardinal.
Does it stay this dark, or does it lighten up a little?
It stays pretty dark. It's really pretty when it comes on open.
Outstanding. Well, I noticed down here that it looks like a little rabbit or a squirrel or or something came along.
Yes, something came along, I don't know when, and broke the vine, and so there's a part of it that's wilted.
Just snipped it right in two there. And I think that is a problem that sometimes our vines have in the landscape. Sometimes our weed eaters or the mowers or little critters can snip them off at the base, but you've got a method to help keep that from happening, correct?
I do. You want to see it?
Absolutely. Let's go look.
Okay.
Wanda, I think I see what you mean here with the little protection you give your vines here. You just have a pot there. Now, is that a complete pot?
No, it's about half of a pot. I cut it off. It's about 6 inches and bury it in the ground, and then the roots can spread out from it. But it gives me a good way to fertilize. I can pour it directly into the pot, and it will sink down where it belongs. And it also keeps, if you have it out in the open, your husband from weed eating it.
Okay, so just a plastic nursery pot.
Right.
And it looks like about a 2 or 3 gallon size pot there.
The larger the better. I have a few that I've had to use smaller ones because the tree roots, for some reason, I couldn't.
Getting it down in there.
Right.
Which Clematis is this one?
This is Ernest Markham. Now, it's another real vigorous one that I cut back every year, too.
Okay. And you mentioned earlier you sometimes top dress with organic matter or animal manures.
I do.
Just add that to the pot as well?
Just add it around the Clematis,
okay.
And
they seem to really appreciate it.
They do.
Okay. Well, right back here I see a lovely cedar trellis. How much did you pay for that, Wanda? It's just a wonderful work of art.
Now, Steve, you know I made this.
Okay. It's beautiful, and it looks like it's floating there off the ground.
Well, I didn't. It took me so long to make it. I wanted to be sure that it didn't rot, so it's attached to rebar behind it that holds it up out of the ground.
Okay, so you just get those legs up out of the ground and help it last a little bit longer.
Right.
In the garden. Well, this is a vivid purple Clematis right back here. Which one is that, Wanda?
This is the President, and it's just almost an electric blue, isn't it?
Kind of makes you want to salute.
Yes.
Yeah, that is lovely. Well, let's go take a look at a few more of your Clematis.
Okay, let's do, Steve.
Wanda, I really like this Clematis right back here with the sort of pink with a pale center. Looks like it's kind of just past its prime, but it is a stunning plant as well. Which one is that?
That's a Sao, and it really was beautiful when it was at its prime, as you say.
Has lots of petals?
Yes, had lots of blooms. It just looked like a tower of blooms. You can see the seed pods that are left.
Those interesting little brush-like seed pods.
They're interesting when the plant's not even in bloom.
Okay. And right up here you've got a really nice one. Nice pale purple color with sort of ruffling of the petals there. Which one is that?
That's Will Goodwin.
Will Goodwin. Outstanding Clematis. Okay. And again, these get a little bit of shade from some of the other plants, or the root zones get a little bit of shade.
Yes, and they're planted in the pots.
Okay. And in another part of your garden, you have a few other Clematis. You have one around here on the sort of the little archway going into your shaded garden. Which one is that?
It's Niobe.
Okay, very nice one. And then you have another one with a sort of a bicolor in the petals.
Bee's Jubilee.
Bee's Jubilee. And you've had good success with those as well.
I have.
Okay. Well, Wanda, your garden is absolutely stunning. I look around and I just see so much color. I can tell you're just a wonderful gardener, and I know this is my second trip back here after visiting your place several years ago on the Oklahoma Horticultural Society tour, and you've added a few things, and I think it's absolutely stunning. Thank you so much for the information on Clematis and allowing us to tour your garden.
Oh, well, thank you for coming so much, Steve. It's been fun.
All right.